Welcome. We're happy to have you all here today. And again, just so you remember faces, I know you just got introduced to about 13, 14 people. My name is Rachel Kayaski, and this is Noah Spencer. And we're going to be presenting on sexual harassment. Before we do that, again, I just want to say we're just so pleased to have you here. I know you have a lot of options and choices on, where you choose to work and where you choose to take your talent. And we're pleased and honored that you have accepted employment with Wake Tax. So that means a lot to us. And it looks like we've got a great group already. So we're just pleased to have you. So sexual harassment's not the most exciting topic, but it's a very necessary topic. Although we're going to try to keep it light, it's a very serious thing to talk about, and that's something that we try to always discuss and present when someone first starts to work, and there's reasons for that. Our job as HR is to make sure that you are educated and you know what sexual harassment is. You're able to recognize it in the workplace and know what your role is. Our role is when someone comes to us, even if it remotely sounds like it's inappropriate, my job, HR's job, is to thoroughly investigate that. I have a responsibility to uphold to the college and to you, and so I want to make sure that you know that, up front, what your expectation of your HR department is. But we also have expectations for you, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So sexual harassment has been in the media forever and a day. In the last couple of years, unfortunately, it's really hit colleges and institutions hard. You've seen what it can do to people's credibility, to victims, to the groups that are impacted, and to the college as a whole. So that's why we take it so seriously and why we are talking about this with you today. Okay, so we've got a couple of objectives that we want to accomplish. First, we're going to explain what is sexual harassment, and we're going to tell you why it's important to prevent sexual harassment in the workplace. Here we go. Oop, I think too far. Okay, I apologize. Okay, here we go. You're also going to be able to explain Wake Tech's policies and procedures for responding and reporting incidences of sexual harassment, what you should do, and understand your responsibilities under our policy. So what is it? What is sexual harassment? First, it's unwelcome sexual advances, and it's also sexual favors. It can also be considered any verbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature that affects an individual's employment, unreasonably interferes with his or her work performance, and creates a hostile or offensive work environment. There are two forms. The first form of sexual harassment is hostile work environment. And the second is quid pro quo. You probably heard that term before. It's Latin for this, for that. In other words, I'll give you this if you give me that. We're first going to talk about hostile work environment. And it can be considered any kind of speech or conduct that is severe or pervasive enough to create an abusive or hostile work environment. So an example with this would be, say you've got a student and you're helping that student and you're kind of standing over his or her shoulder and you're looking at their work and you just put your hand on their shoulder like this. And the student says, "Oh, I don't feel comfortable with that." And he says, "Take it off." But you leave it there. You leave it there for a long time. What do you think that's going to do? How is that going to make that student feel uncomfortable? So that would be an example. So, Noah.
Yes, boss?
You look so nice today. I really like that tie.
Thank you.
Is there anything wrong with that comment? No. But what if I said, Noah, you you really rocking that tie, man. You just look hot. That, on the other hand, might not make one person feel uncomfortable, but Noah, I bet it make you feel uncomfortable, right?
As you can tell from my voice.
And he really does report to me, so it's not just what you say, but how you say it, and it's also people's perception. So what you might consider okay, and it might have been okay, with you and, the people you've worked with in the past, might not be okay with the next person. So you've always got to think about how you're going to be perceived, and think about how someone else might take what you're saying to them.
Because not everybody has the blush reflex.
So they might not show you that it makes them feel uncomfortable, but it actually does. So in addition to speech or conduct, like what I was just doing with Noah, it covers explicit or suggestive items displayed in the workplace. And that goes for those, posters. It doesn't have to be, nude posters, but it could be, just anything suggestive. Jokes are suggestive. Of course, someone in a scantily dressed outfit would be more than just suggestive. But even though it might be just in your office, other people visit that office. There's people that pass by that office, and then people that meet with you. So consider and think about anything that you have on display, or that might even be tucked away on your desk. Those things can be considered, inappropriate. Why? Am I going? I go one way and then it. That's not right.
Oh, there you go.
Something's wrong with this clicker. Anyway, I apologize. So this is another example we just talked about. Someone displays a calendar, and it's in their cubicle, and it's got nude females on it, or nude males. It doesn't matter, but that is inappropriate.
I will say too, even if it's bikini, obviously we all know. But the thing to keep in mind, you never know when Dr. Scott or Mr. Mitchell might stop by. They're both ninjas. They pop up out of nowhere. You have no idea. Smoke bomb, there they are.
And he is right. We're going to try this again. Yay, it worked. Okay, so quid pro quo. So who's heard of this Latin term before, quid pro quo? I'm sure many of you have. So it means, I'll give you this if you give me that. And it's any kind of a tangible employment action. It has to impact pay or change in job status. So we're going to talk about an example, and here's one right here. So a dean lowers someone's performance rating because they refused to go out with them. Say they were going to give them a 4, and because the person didn't accept their offer for a date, they give them a 3. That is considered quid pro. So Noah, what are you doing Friday night after dinner or after work? You think you could go out for dinner?
My wife, and we're going to watch TV.
What do you think about having a couple of drinks, maybe after dinner with your wife?
I don't think she'd appreciate that.
Okay. Well, surely on Sunday afternoon you probably watch football. Maybe you could just slip away for just a little bit.
No, I never moved, so she'd know if I was gone.
Really? Well, that's just too bad. That we've got that new position, that HR support specialist 3, and I thought you might be a really good candidate for that position, but I guess not.
Maybe I can make it.
So it might not be that obvious, or it just may. I've heard of very, very obvious situations where you think, wow, how would this happen? But it happens. So who can be involved in sexual harassment? As we've seen from the cases out in the media, it ends up involving everybody and their brother. So those who commit it are employees at all levels. It doesn't have to be a supervisor committing it. It can be employee to employee. It can be same sex. It can be, of course, students. So it involves everyone. And who can be targeted? And again, the victims are targets, obviously. Bystanders are targets. And people that are witnesses who, that you might think, just because I saw it, it doesn't impact me, but it might impact you emotionally, because the more you know about something like that, the more it wears on you. It's doing that again.
We just want to reiterate.
Yes, we do.
Just make sure. So that way we know you're all awake.
Carlos, any?
No, you can advance from
Yeah, let's just go from here, because it's. All right, so that's the end of my section. Maybe that's a good thing, because I can't seem to work this clicker. But do you have any questions? Any questions at all? Okay.
Why is this important? I think we all kind of have an idea just from the first part of this. It's important to, why is it important to prevent sexual harassment? It affects our whole culture. Where Rachel was talking about the fact that other people are involved, witnesses, bystanders, it really does affect all of us, because one, you never know who's going to witness it. And do any of us want people running around thinking that's the culture of Wake Tech? I hope not. I should have seen more heads shaking. No, I just saw a lot of blank stares. Sexual harassment harms us all. The most important part of our core values is to ensure that all employees and students are treated with respect and dignity. I've worked a lot of different jobs, and that's not true everywhere. Wake Tech, we really do hold to that. We really want everybody, respect your coworkers, treat everybody with dignity, and you should come in every day liking coming into your job. It's important for compliance with Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, which prohibits sexual discrimination. Compliance with Title IX, that's a big one right now. Title IX is a lot more than a lot of people originally thought. Many people thought that only applied to sports, college sports. Got to pay equal money to different sports. But in actuality, with the way the law is written, it covers a broad range. And compliance with similar state civil rights laws and fair employment laws. But again, as important as it is with meeting the law, it's also about the culture that we have here. Respect, dignity, sexual harassment is an aggressive behavior. And again, it does harm us all. Any questions on any of that? All right. I'm sorry, I talk fast. I'm nervous in front of groups, and so I start buzzing along. Our policy is located in the employee handbook, which I'm sure every one of you has already read, well, except for the people that just got their contract today. But the rest of you, right? Everybody read every single page? Then you're better than me. Sorry, boss. We do ensure that we will investigate in a timely manner. If you come to us and say something has happened, we will look into it in a timely manner. Sometimes you may not know how we're looking into it, though. Be aware of that. Understand that just because you came and said something doesn't mean you're going to see every single step in the process. We have to protect, both sides, because obviously a false accusation can be so harmful to someone as well that we have to be very careful how we investigate. You're all required as employees to participate in investigations. You also have to know and comply with our policies and procedures. Report what you see. Sometimes it may be something that you think, it's no big deal, they seemed like they were okay, but you may be the only person willing to come forward to let us know. And a lot of times it's just a matter of going to someone and saying, that behavior was inappropriate, could you, not do that in the future? Because a lot of times people just don't understand. There's so many differences in perception and the way each of us were raised that a lot of people may not get that this was inappropriate for a work environment. Again, cooperate with the investigations. The key there is we want facts. You know, your opinions are great. We may ask your opinion of, you know, how did that person react or something like that. But the main thing we want are facts. We want to know what happened as clearly as you can recall, because that's what's going to help us make a determination. All right? And support the victims. Now, when I say support the victims, that does not mean, oh my gosh, I can't believe that person did that to you. That simply means, again, treat them with dignity and respect. If you don't know what's going on with the situation, sometimes it's best not to say anything, to just, you know, let the investigation take place, not put your 2 cents in, because that can feel belittling to the victim. It also, if you put your 2 cents in, I can't believe that person did that, and then the investigation comes back and it's like, whoa, wait a minute, they were dating for 2 years and this happened. You know, it can throw things off, and then that can be a cancer in your relationship with that person. So again, we want just, I cannot say it enough, respect, dignity. Let's just come in here and be professional. All right? Quick summary. Sexual harassment is unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors. Again, sometimes I want to put "duh" at the end, but I've heard of cases where I can no longer do that. People just blatantly do things that this has been in the news for 25 years now, and yet people still are doing these behaviors. It's amazing to me. Or other verbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature that affects individuals' employment, unreasonably interferes. Now, the thing to remember there is that's a perception, how much it unreasonably interferes, or creates an intimidating, hostile, or offensive work environment. Again, the intimidation, the hostility, you don't know what a person's gone through. You don't know how they're going to react to things. So if someone says to you, you know, I'm not comfortable with that, just take that for what it is and move on. All right. Oh, right. Responsibility. One of the most important slides. See, y'all should have caught that. You should have said, hey, what am I supposed to do? What's mine? All right. Everyone has a responsibility. The employees charged with investigating and recommending disciplinary sanctions are obviously our chief HR officer, our director of talent management, and the other thing, Rachel Gayeski. It's employee relations. I really shouldn't have missed that part, but it is a new title, so I'm getting used to it. All supervisors and managers. Again, and Title IX coordinator and deputy coordinators. Does anybody know who the coordinator and deputy coordinators are? Okay, Benita Clark, the Chief Human Resources Officer, is the Title IX coordinator. The deputies are Rita German, the Senior Vice President for Student Services, and Anthony Kaysen, the Vice President of Continuing Education. We try to make this something, obviously you don't want these investigations to be everybody hears everything, and for those of you who've been temps here or have worked here in other capacities, you know the Wake Tech grapevine, and we try to keep that to a minimum with stuff like this. But we also try to make it a collaborative effort, and you know, the people that need to be involved in the investigation are. That's it. Any questions, concerns? Yes?
Particularly in light of what's happened recently over at UNC, I was just wondering if there are policies about, you know, if we witness something that's student-on-student abuse, or we hear something from a student that may have happened in housing or on the campus, what the reporting requirements are, or if there are policies on that.
What I recommend doing with that is talking to our student conduct officers. I believe Karen Finnessy on the North Campus or Mark Gibson would both be good contacts. Also our Title IX coordinators, coordinator and deputy coordinators would be able to address that.